Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming tonight. And we are so excited to celebrate Black History Month this month. And we're really excited to kick off this month with the Multicultural Children's Book Club. And I'm Ellie Wyndham, the founder and program manager for Walking Other People's Shoes. And I'm based in New Jersey. And Walking Other People's Shoes, we strive to empower women of color voices by providing transformative experiences through storytelling and community. Today for our book club, we have 3 parts. We'll start with Mia, who will introduce the book of the month, Change Things by Amanda Gorman. And then we'll have a special guest facilitator, Portia Jones, to lead us through a theme activity that you could do with your kids or your students. And then we'll have our special guest speaker, and we will also follow with that a Q&A. And then also stay tuned until we announce the winner of our book club in a box giveaway. So our facilitator that I have the pleasure of co-facilitating this evening is Mia Wen Chen. Mia blogs on parenting, children's books, and education at pragmaticmom.com. And she is the co-creator of the Multicultural Children's Book Day, a nonprofit celebrating diversity in children's books. She's based in the Boston area. And then our activity facilitator, Portia Jones, is an educator of 16 years and a former teacher and a dean of early childhood. She currently supports coaching others in general and special education systems across New York City in public and charter schools. She loves all things literacy, and she's based in Brooklyn, New York. So I want to pass it off to Mia, who will introduce us our book and giveaway.
Great. Hi, thank you all for coming. I'm so excited. When I was planning for the programming for February, and it was Black History Month, which is such an important month, the first person who came to mind was Tamara Shiloh. And I had met her recently. She is a Black female owner of an independent bookstore called Multicultural Bookstore and Gifts. And the name is so similar too. I just felt like, oh my gosh, like we're already, kindred spirits. Now, this store is based in Richmond, California, not Richmond, Virginia, Richmond, California, which is Northern California, in the Bay Area. And so if you don't live close enough to visit her store, I personally buy my books through her store. She has a great website. And if you don't have, the book is not listed, you can put it in an email and she'll get it for you. And it's not just that she has a independently owned bookstore, but she wears like many, many hats. So she is also an author. So she has written these books, 2 books so far in the series called Just Imagine, and these are middle grade books. What if there were no Black people in the world? And so this one is Jackson's Magical Adventure with Black Inventors and Scientists. And it's kind of an incredible book because it's this boy Jackson, he wakes up and, what if no Black people existed? And then all these things start disappearing. And because he has a magical necklace, he gets to meet the inventors and scientists, and they get to tell them about what they invented, and then he can see the impact on the world. And then the other book is Jackson and Kevin's Black History Trip Downtown, and it's similar. It's other Black history figures, scientists, inventors, like the whole 9 yards. And I think it's so important when we think about Black History Month. I read this article that it shouldn't just be about the civil rights movement, right? It shouldn't just be about struggle. It should also be about Black achievement, and I think these two books do such a wonderful job because I would say 9/10 of the people introduced in these books I had never heard of. And so I thought they were quite incredible. She also, Tamara also writes this Black History Minute. So I get these email newsletters almost weekly, sometimes several times a week. And it's Black history of a person. Usually I've never heard of this person. And she writes a pretty extensive one page. Like sometimes when I'm really busy with email, I have to save it because I want to read it carefully. It's just like one page nugget of knowledge. And she also teaches Black history through children's books. So she has classes where educators and parents, librarians can sign up for classes. And so, of course, we're going to see a 3D version of her store, which will probably have, no doubt, quite a few displays for Black History Month. But I just thought there's no one better. She chose Change Things for us. And so this is by Amanda Gorman and illustrated by Lauren Long. And Amanda Gorman, as probably a lot of people are familiar with, is the poet laureate chosen by President Obama, and just like a really, I would just say like a fresh voice. And so what was so interesting to me was that I actually, was planning the giveaway. And so I thought, okay, well, let me find Black-owned businesses with snacks. And so I did. So I found this company called Oh Amazing, and they make these granola, like really incredible granola. And so I have quite a few, like a dozen of these individual granola packs from Oh Amazing, a Black-owned business. I got this incredible box from Crayola Education, and it was literally like every product on the planet with swag. Like this is a t-shirt. These are window crayons. This is a creative teaching and learning like notebook about math. This is like a little stuffy guy you can put on a backpack. All kinds of markers, all kinds of paint pens. I got actual Band-Aid crayons, but they're actually antibacterial Band-Aids. Markers, watercolor pads. That's not even all of it. There's more. I can't go through all of it with you, but it's quite a bit. But the book that they picked to center this whole package around was Change Things. So what about that? That was kismet, right? And so I thought I would start off by just reading a few pages from Change Things, but I'll just give you a flavor of Amanda Gorman and her poetry, and truly why she is so inspirational, to this generation, and to, sort of like a voice that we need in this time. So her book is Change Things, a children's anthem. I can hear change humming in its loudest, proudest song. I don't fear change coming. And so I sing along. And here you have like a beautiful image of Martin Luther King Jr. So perfect, right? Mm-hmm. I scream with the skies of red and blue streamers. I dream with the cries of tried and true dreamers. I hum with 100 hearts, each of us lifting a hand. I use my strengths and my smarts, take a knee to make a stand. Change things where? There, inside me, because I'm the change I want to see. I kind of really love this self-empowerment message too. As I grow, it grows like seeds. I am just what the world needs. We are the waves starting to spring, for we are the change we sing. We're what the world is becoming, and we know it won't be long. We all hear change strumming. Won't you sing along? And also just the message of like change can be, each person is capable of it, and it can be in so many different ways. And it can be expressed creatively through song or as Crayola suggests, through, through artwork, whether it's public art or doodling. It also can be taking a knee, and also can be marching, and also can be speaking out. It can be all these things. And so I think it's a really great message for children. And so for Black History Month, I do want to say, like, please check out Change Things, of course, but also Tamara Shiloh's wonderful series, Just Imagine What If There Were No Black People in the World. It is this huge entire box. And the book. Yeah, I'm excited for whoever gets it, and I hope they will be inspired to do some kind of project at home, whether it's with kids or with, their own children or friends. Let this be an inspiration that Black History Month is American history. It shouldn't really be delegated to a single month. It should be embedded into curriculum, and we should study this and enjoy and, read these books year round. And I think Tamara Shiloh will be really helpful to show us more books that inspired her, because she really is the expert. And also Portia, to inspire us of how we can take, things that we have around the house, like crayons and everyday things, and use our creativity to, just to express, our activism and our emotions. And so with that, I am going to pass it to Portia Jones.
Thank you so much, Mia. I always love hearing the words of Amanda Gorman. And as a special educator, I will note that Amanda was actually inspired by many speeches that she heard as a child. When she was growing up, she actually had a speech impediment. And so it was really hard for her to sometimes express herself and get her words out. And so she would often listen to the speeches of people like Martin Luther King Jr., who was featured in that book. And that is something that inspired her. Now, I am not an artist by trade, but I can also be inspired by someone like Amanda. And Amanda has really powerful words, and something that we see play out in her book are these gorgeous, big, beautiful murals. And one of the ones that really struck with me is the one that's kind of my background here, which says, "We are the change." And so I figured it could be a really fun activity for people to be inspired by Amanda and create a mural of their own. Now, when I was a kid, sometimes I wanted to put murals on my own walls in my room, but my mom definitely did not like that. So the best place for us to do our murals is just by having a blank piece of paper. And I also have these really cool Crayola crayons. And so that's going to be our mural for today. I'm going to share something that you can do with your students or your children. So I'm going to model what that looks like. And I see that there's some little ones in the room already. So if you're able to follow along with me, you can definitely do that. I love to see your murals today. All we'll need is just one sheet of paper and anything that you want to color with. That could be crayons, that could be markers, anything that's close by. Even just a pencil or a pen is something that you can use to draw your mural. So I thought to myself, what are some things that can really inspire me to make change? What are ways that I can make change sing? So I'm going to think to myself, something that really comes to mind is that I know I can actually be an agent of change. I am someone who can create change, and you can be someone who can create change too. Whether you're small or whether you're big, we all can create change. And so the first thing that I'm going to put in my mural and that I'm going to draw is myself, because I'm change too. And in my box of crayons, sometimes I look at the different colors that I see. And since I'm drawing myself, I want to choose the color that best matches me and what I look like. And I know that I have black hair. So I have my black crayon here. I also know that I'm wearing a blue dress. So it's hard to see in the dark, but it's a blue dress. So I've got my blue crayon here. And then I'm gonna pick out a color that kind of matches my skin. And looking at lots of different colors here, I see red and orange. That doesn't quite match me. I've got this white color. That doesn't quite match me. But I see this beautiful brown crayon that it's not exactly my skin color, but if I color with it and press on it a little bit more, I can make it darker or I can make it a little bit lighter. So I want to take some time right now, and you can take some time to draw yourself. I'm going to draw myself. So I want to see if you can draw yourself too, or something else that makes you sing, something that creates change. Maybe that's something other than yourself. So here's what I've got on my paper. And as you're finishing that up, I'm going to think to myself again, what is something else that makes me sing? What is something else that creates change that can make me sing? You know, I know that Amanda was inspired by the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And I know that my words can inspire change. When I was a little girl, sometimes I would see people make some not nice choices. Sometimes they would even call me names, and it didn't make me feel good. But my mom always said to use my words to tell people how I feel. And you know what? I did. And it really created change. I said, it's good to be friends. Can we be friends? And so I can use my words to also create change. So I've got my picture of myself. I think I'm going to draw a bubble of me talking and using my words, because words can also create change. So the words I'm going to use are, we can be friends. You can think about what are words that you might want to say that can also create change, and you can add that in your picture. So I'm going to add that in. We can be friends. What are some other things that can help create change and make our hearts sing? You know, I know that Amanda, as a poet and as an author, she always thinks about books and how books can also create change. And when I was a kid, I loved reading books, even though sometimes reading the words were a little bit tricky for me. I would even look at the pictures to travel to different countries, to think about what I wanted to be when I grew up. I wanted to be an astronaut and I wanted to be a doctor. So I would read books about all of those things. And I would also create change by reading books. And sometimes people can create change just by reading things around them. So something I'm going to add in my mural is me holding a book, because I know that books can be one way to create change. But here I have me, I have my words, and I've got my book in red velvet. A little hard to see. I want to make sure. Oh, look at that. That is a beautiful drawing of yourself. I think it's yourself. What else is something that can create change in our communities?
Look, Kenneth actually wrote our
Oh,
voices.
Our voices, that's right. Our voices can definitely help to create change, you know?
I just saw a beautiful drawing that flashed out from Montia, January, and
Yeah,
well, here it
look
comes,
at
here it
that
comes.
beautiful
Wow,
drawing.
that is so good. That's incredible.
I can tell that you really thought about the colors of you that match that picture with the hair and the skin tone and your shirt. Wonderful job. We've got some real artists in here. Now, the last thing, look at that. So cool. Look, you thought about the length of your hair, the color of your skin, what you're doing.
It's so
Beautiful.
joyful too. The pose is so joyful. I love
That's
it.
a very joyful pose. I love seeing these artists. And Maria's got one too. Maria, do you want to come off of mute to share your?
Yeah, let me blur the background. Hang on a sec. So when you're talking about books, I was actually doing books because I work at a library and I'm also an author. So I see firsthand like the kids at the library and how it really can create change and makes a huge difference. You know, a lot of times this is the only place where kids have access to books. So, you know, definitely words are very impactful. So here's a picture of me or a girl, you know, with a book with the library books on the shelves.
That's a great drawing. I love it. You're so talented, Maria.
It's very talented. And absolutely, libraries are really important institutions in our community that can help create change. So we're being inspired by so many different things. And the last thing I'm going to think about, I could keep going, right? I could keep adding even more. I could think of more things that really make my heart sing and help to give change. But something I noticed that the illustrator of Change Sings did in their murals was they really filled up the page with color and with drawings. Here's what I've got, and I could keep going. Look at that. Oh, I see some words there. Art can make a change. Yeah, absolutely. Our drawings can make a change, our paintings. We're all artists in our own right. And I'm so thankful to have been inspired by the beautiful words and illustrations in Amanda Gorman's book. So thank you guys for joining in on this with me. Look at these gorgeous murals. I love it. Look at all those pretty colors. So this is something, again, you can do with students or your children. And I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to pass it over to Tamara, who's going to close us out with her amazing bookstore.
Well, that was inspiring. I can't stop smiling. Yeah, I've been doing this for a little while now, and I do keep busy with Black history. I started, I don't know, 20 some, a little more than that, years ago. And I decided to rewrite the books, which I've done. Which one of the things I kind of live by is the change I want to see begins with me. And when I saw that many years ago, you know, we complain about not hearing enough about Black history. So I decided that if I wanted folks to know more about Black history, then I was going to have to do something about that. And so that's why I started writing the emails. And then I also write for the local newspaper here. I write the Black history column for them. So I just enjoy. It is an ongoing education for me also. I'm always amazed at the number of things that African Americans have contributed. It's just incredible. And so I do teach a class, teachers how to incorporate Black history into their curriculum. And I also teach a Black history class also. It's a 10-week course and I offer it ongoing all year. You know, Black history is important. As Mia said, you know, at the end of the day, it's just American history, U.S. history. However, it's history that isn't being taught. So I think the change would happen when Black history is taught. Children aren't born racist. It is a learned and taught behavior. And part of the problem with adults is what they know is through assumptions. They assume things, but that's because they don't know. And as I tell the teachers, you can't teach what you don't know. And that's why I try to share as much information as often as I can. Having a bookstore allows me to do that. And I'm also happy that it's a multicultural bookstore. It was inspired by a few friends who decided to do something, and not nearly what I have now, but it was just a little pop-up we were going to do for a couple months. And here, 3-4 years later, I have a bookstore. So this is the entrance to the bookstore, and on the wall back here, these are our diversity books. These are our LGBTQ books. These are our music, dance, and art books. All right, so these are the social justice books. We have a pretty decent selection of social justice books now, and you could see more of them on our website. The books over here are our Spanish bilingual books. The books here are our teen and adults. Initially, everyone thought it was a children's bookstore. And so I had to let them know that was in the name. So I took the children, it used to be the Multicultural Children's Bookstore. So I removed it so everyone would come in and enjoy, the books. We have our Native American books here and on the other side. These are our African American children's books. We have a wall of those. So on this wall over here are our Black history books. These are mostly our adult books. There are so many books about Black history. I could just do a bookstore on nothing but Black history forever. I just like the fact that people have captured some really good information about African Americans in history. So that's the bookstore. And I am trying to, as I stated, expand the bookstore so that I can put more wonderful books in, to share as many of them as I can. Some of my favorite books that I provide for kids for Black history, I like the 20th century African American history for kids. It really is a very good book, and it's very well written. The Black Heroes is another really good book for children to learn about many Black inventors and scientists and other notable African Americans. And I think when the books are easy for the kids to read and easy for teachers to explain, I think that more than anything else, because a lot of times, Black people have done so many incredible things. I mean, we have so many scientists that have done wonderful things, and I'll get someone and I'll get excited, and then it dawns on me that I can't explain to a child what that actually means in 5th grade language, right? So I try to stick with things that, first of all, I understand. So, it's easy to talk about Lewis Latimer and the light bulb and the filament. Using him as an example, it's like, they talk about Thomas Edison from grade school to graduate school, and they never ever mentioned Lewis Latimer, which was the major person. His involvement with with Thomas Edison was huge, because Thomas Edison's bulb wouldn't stay lit. And so he created the filament that kept the bulb lit. So, it's like, okay, that could have been said in one sentence, and it just amazes me how no one ever mentions that at all. So I try to talk about the simple things. I write about things that are pretty simple for me. The Garrett Morgan and the traffic signal. He didn't create the signal light. He created the all stop, where all the cars stop. Other people have made traffic signals stop, go, but he created the all stop, which meant everybody stopped. And that was like the precursor for the yellow, the caution light. So, but he also created the first gas mask. Everybody, all of our first responders use gas masks, right? But I mean, it's the little things that are big things. Dr. George Grant, a black dentist, created the first golf tee. I mean, okay, look at our world of golf. I mean, you know, assumptions has caused many problems because you just assume that everything was invented or created by white people. And that's because you don't know any better. You know, you haven't been taught anything better. So I am trying to make sure that we don't continue to do that. Jeffrey Benson's book is called Finish the Story. And it's about Harriet Tubman's secret raid. But let me tell you what's so great about this book. He has activities throughout this entire book, and Finish the Story means that the kids who are in the book, the characters, actually go back in time and help Harriet Tubman free the slaves from this plantation. But the kids actually get to do things, and the readers get to help the kids help Harriet Tubman. There's QR codes throughout the book where you can get download puzzles, and there's math puzzles and quizzes, and I tell you, it is such an incredible book. And I think books are what give children opportunity to change, because it allows them to learn about people, places, and things that they never would have been introduced to without books. So it's really important to keep books in front of your kids, in front of your students, and diverse books. But this is Black History Month, and I think more important than anything else, they really need to understand that this country was built with the contributions of African Americans, and it isn't all about slavery. But when you do teach about slavery, you teach about how rebellious and resilient slaves were. It wasn't all about just being a slave, about the oppression and about all that. They need to understand that they were rebels. They fought like heck. You know, they didn't just lie down and take it. I mean, it was a fight. So there's a lot to be learned about Black history, but it is so necessary to change the face of our country. It will make such a big difference. And that aha moment you get when you learn about something, like Mia said, you know, when she reads, you know, my little articles about books that she hadn't heard about. That's why I'm writing. This is a two books in a 7-book series, and I'm working on book 3 now. I also had the privilege of writing a book for Scholastic that'll be out in June. It's called Cameron Teaches Black History, and it's about a little 8-year-old who teaches Black history in the park. So I'm going to close for now because I could go on forever talking about Black history, but I hope I've given you enough to inspire you to pick up a book, to buy a book for a child or yourself, because that changed things for me. So thank you again, Mia. Thank you, Elle. I appreciate this. And hopefully you'll visit the bookstore, multiculturalbookstore.com. Thank you.
So I just want to, before we open up to Q&A, just quickly say, yes, please support a female Black-owned independent bookstore. She ships anywhere. You can buy it off her website. You can also type in if there's a book you don't see, and she'll get it for you. I'm going to add these 2 books to my giveaway to the box, just because I read them. I thought they were incredible. I just want to, you know, pass it on, share the wealth.
I just want to it's more of a comment, Tamara. It's like amazing about how you built this space and education and tools to help other people learn about Black history and diversity. It's just so inspiring. We do have a winner. I think we got some really great artists tonight, and got the family that joined us. I would love them to know that they won the book in the box.
Thank you. I actually followed the Pragmatic Mom. I've been following you on Instagram for like years.
Thank
And
you.
when I saw today that you all were doing the change things, I actually read this book to my daughters today. They love drawing, if you can't tell, and painting, and they made these to go with the background, to match the background
Beautiful.
of change things. Thank you for having us today. They're so excited about winning.
Yay. Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you
there's
for
plenty of
sharing.
art supplies for all you artists. So
Awesome.
enjoy.
Well,
Thank you all for coming.
yes, thank you so much. We're so excited that
Thank
we
you.
all had you come tonight and learn a little bit more of our amazing history. And I hope you guys have a great Black History Month, and I hope to see you soon.